Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1588B, and today's date is June 10th, 2018, and the title of the episode is The Battle Moves from Behind the Scenes to the Foreground. Now, before I get started, I just want to make an announcement. I uploaded an interview with Jim Willey. It is on the X22 Report Spotlight YouTube channel, so all you need to do is go over to YouTube, type in X22 Report Spotlight. It will bring you to the interview, or you can come over to x22report.com or newssentinel.com. Scroll down a little bit, look over to your right-hand side. You can play the interview right on the site, or you can go to Steemit. That is steemit.com/@X22Report, and you can play the interview right on Steemit. Let's get into the economic collapse, political and geopolitical news. Now, the G7 meeting, which is really the G6 plus 1, which is the United States, it used to be called the G8 because Russia was included. Now they don't include Russia, but it looks like the G6 plus 1 meeting has not gone well whatsoever. It looks like Trump has lashed out at Trudeau, and basically he went on to say that he will not endorse the final G7 communique and will look to impose tariffs on cars, potentially signaling a worsening of relations in a brewing trade war. Justin Trudeau earlier said that his country will move ahead with retaliatory measures against the recently imposed U.S. tariffs on allies, steel, aluminum exports. He said the new tariffs on Canada were insulting and said he told Trump directly that Canadians particularly did not take lightly the fact that it's based on national security reasons, and held firm to the government's threat of retaliation. He said Canadians are polite or reasonable, but we will also not be pushed around. Now, Trump was angered by Trudeau's apparent two-faced comment, and he basically said, listen, this is about Canada charging about 270% on dairy. This has nothing to do with that. And the other part of it is the communique that all of you are putting out there. There's a problem with it. Let's look at the G7 communique and the demands for Russia and Syria and Ukraine, because this is all part of the deep state. This is all these leaders together. They're still part of the same system, and they're still pushing the same propaganda agenda. Now, they put together the communique, and this is section 13 and 14, and it says the following. We urge Russia to cease its destabilizing behavior to undermine democratic systems and its support of the Syrian regime. We condemn the attack using military-grade nerve agent in Salisbury, United Kingdom. Well, first of all, that was never proven. They've never shown any evidence, and they still have nothing, but they're just blaming it on Russia. That is with the Skripals. We share and agree with the United Kingdom's assessment that it is highly likely that the Russian Federation was responsible for the attack and that there is no plausible alternative explanation. There's no other explanation on how this happened. Because if it was Novichok, these people would be dead. We urge Russia to live up to its international obligations, as well as its responsibilities as a permanent member of the UN Security Council to uphold international peace and security. Notwithstanding, we will continue to engage with Russia on addressing regional crises and global challenges where it is our interests. We reiterate our condemnation of the illegal annexation of Crimea and reaffirm our enduring support for Ukrainian sovereignty, independence, and territorial integrity within its internationally recognized borders. We maintain our commitment to assisting Ukraine in implementing its ambitious and necessary reform agenda. We recall that continuation of sanctions is clearly linked to Russia's failure to demonstrate complete implementation of its commitments in the Minsk agreement, which is actually the opposite. Ukraine is not agreeing with the agreement that Russia put together, and Ukraine hasn't lived up to their part. We also know that under the Obama administration, and this is why Trump is tweeting something about Obama with Crimea, he says under Obama, he let Crimea be taken away by Russia, so now he's blaming this on Obama. And again, this is about Russia not conforming to the deep state, not conforming to the central bank, and they're still pushing the same exact propaganda. Section 14. In Syria, we also condemn the repeated and morally reprehensible use of chemical weapons by the Syrian regime and by the Islamic State. Well, it's funny how they put in the Islamic State because they know the Islamic State is beaten. But they put in Syria, and again, it has never been proven. It has never been proven that the Syrian government used chemical weapons. We have evidence that these are false flags. And once again, they found a lot of sarin gas in the moderate rebel caves. They found chlorine and sarin gas manufacturing plants in the Islamic State areas, which were overrun by the Syrian army. And they found all the weapons and all the manufacturing plants and all the containers and things like that. So again, there is evidence out there, but these governments are sticking to the deep state plan. They didn't even veer off. They're still doing what they've done in the past. Let me continue now with the communique. We deplore the fact that Syria assumed the presidency of the Conference on Disarmament in May. Now, every country gets a chance. They go by alphabetical order, and it's Syria's turn. So basically, it's their turn to do this, and they don't like this. And they went on to say, given its consistent and flagrant disregard of international non-proliferation norms and agreements, we reaffirm our collective commitment to the Chemical Weapons Convention and call on all states to support the upcoming Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons Special Conference of States Parties and to work together to strengthen the ability of the OPCW to promote the implementation of the convention. We call upon those who have yet to do so to join the international partnership against impunity for the use of chemical weapons. We call for credible, inclusive, and non-sectarian governance in Syria. Means they don't want Assad to be the president there, but they wanted to say that they want free and fair elections there. What they're really saying is they don't want this to happen because they know the people are going to vote for Assad. Let me see. He brought in Russia. He brought in Iran. They destroyed the Islamic State. They liberated the towns, the villages. The refugees are flowing back into Syria. Why wouldn't they vote for him? If he was actually killing everyone in Syria, why would millions of people return? It makes no sense. And once again, here is the deep state. So what do we have? We have the deep state on one side, and we have Trump and those behind him on the other side, and they are coming to a head. The battle right now is right in front of us. It's going head to head with the deep state, and the deep state is continuing with their plans. Actually, Trump is out there saying Russia should join the G7. They should be included in this because Russia is an industrialized nation, and they should be included, and we should call it the G8. And once again, he's trying to bring Russia back into the fold here. And what is the deep state? What do they want? They don't want this to happen. Remember, Russia has taken over the private Western Central Bank. He has taken it away from the Rothschilds. And they don't like this. That country is an enemy. Iran is an enemy. Syria is going to be an enemy. Venezuela, going to be an enemy, is an enemy. All these countries that don't have a Rothschild central bank where they can control it, they have become the enemy. This is how it works. Now, it looks like Poroshenko is speaking to Putin on the phone, and they're going to be talking about the exchange of detainees. So hopefully, with this telephone call, which was initiated by Poroshenko on Saturday, that they'll be talking about peace, having exchange of prisoners, and maybe they can push this to the next level. We see right now that there is a ceasefire in Afghanistan with the Taliban, and it looks like the U.S. right now is making the move on the Islamic State. So the forces do not have to fight the Taliban right now. They're pulling them back and redirecting them to destroy the Islamic State. And I do believe at this point they're going and basically destroying the poppy fields, taking them over from the CIA, actually destroying the paid mercenary army in Afghanistan. And we can see right now, because with this ceasefire, it opens up to a lot more U.S. troops to go after the Islamic State. Now, we know that Iraq, they wanted to have a recount. Remember the deep state? They didn't like how these elections turned out. So Abadi said, listen, we need to have a recount here of 11 million votes. We don't know how long this is going to take, but this needs to be done because I can't believe this is how the elections turned out. But something very strange happened with this recount. A fire broke out at the warehouse in Baghdad where the ballots from the recent Iraqi parliamentary elections are stored, the whole thing went up in flames. And basically, the ballots were inside. So what does this mean right now? I mean, is anyone really surprised that all of a sudden, in this exact location where the ballots are being held, security forces are surrounding them, that there's a fire exactly where the recount needs to be? Well, it looks like the deep state has struck again. It looks like Turkey right now has completed the construction of their 475-mile wall on the Syrian-Turkish border. And we can see that they put this up because of security reasons, and they are completing it right now. Putin is out there. He's saying that we control 90% of Syria right now. And the remaining paid mercenary forces, they are still active in U.S.-controlled areas. And we can see that the deep state, with their paid mercenaries, they're still in these areas. We know that the Pentagon has certain troops that are going after the Islamic State in Syria, and this whole thing is coming to a head right now, and the whole thing is being fought right out in front of us. We can see it in all these different areas, especially the G7 meeting, where you can see there's the leaders taking one side and Trump and the U.S. taking another side, going head-to-head. Normally, all the leaders would agree because they were all on the same side. Now they are not. And it has nothing to do with Republican, Democrat. It has nothing to do with that. Because, Bush and all the rest, they would all agree with it anyhow because they were all part of the same system. What we're seeing right now is everything is in flux. The battle is being fought right out in front, and I do believe that the patriots, they have the control right now, and the deep state, they don't know what to do with this. They don't have control. They don't know how to push Trump into this position. And not just Trump, it's the patriots behind him. They don't know what to do. They're kind of stuck right now. And this is why we're seeing this battle being fought right in front of us. Also out in North Korea, we can see the summit is coming up. We see everyone is getting organized in Singapore. Everyone's getting ready to meet. And we can see that the control is slowly being taken away from the deep state, and they are floundering right now. They don't know what to do. Yeah, they can put out these communiques. They can say this is what they want. But the truth is, Russia has control of Syria. Assad has control of Syria. They've lost their edge. They don't have control of Syria anymore. And what we're seeing right now is that Russia has 90% and Syria has 90% of the country. And eventually, as they're maneuvering and moving the pieces around, they're going to control the Kurd region. You can see it. The Kurdish are already talking to Damascus. And the funding and everything else has stopped in Syria. Soon you're going to see there's going to be an agreement where the Kurds and the Syrian government, they're going to be speaking to each other. And the land is going to become as one. And guess what? There's going to be no reason for the U.S. to be there. There's going to be no reason for the coalition troops to be there. And they're going to have to be removed. And that time is coming. And it's all being reworked right now. And the deep state, they don't know what to do. They are losing control at a very, very fast pace. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.